Today we're taking LeBron James and Steph Curry and swapping their NBA careers, meaning that LeBron will be taking his talents to the Bay to play for the Warriors, while Steph will be taking LeBron's place on his teams, all starting off with the Cleveland Cavaliers, which will give the two the chance to replay their legendary rivalry, where one will eventually stand alone as the greatest of all time.
The Cleveland Cavaliers select Stephen Curry from Davidson College.
So with all that being said, their journey starting off with Steph Curry heading to Cleveland, where he'll have a 6-year head start over LeBron, who's not getting drafted until 2009, which is definitely something to keep in mind as time goes on, because both Steph and LeBron are going to be racing to 6 NBA championships, with the first to ultimately get there being crowned the greatest of all time. So with the two aiming for that many titles, it's only right that we fast forward a couple years to 2007, where Steph and LeBron's competition would finally start to take form. All starting off with our first glimpse of LBJ on the court as he's heading to Davidson College just as Steph does. But just like Steph, he'll have to wait a while and play 3 seasons with the team before he heads to the NBA. But on the other hand, Steph's situation would be completely different, as he's in year 4 of his NBA journey, dominating the league with over 25 points per game to lead the Cavs to the 3 seed. And by the time the playoffs came around, his dominance wouldn't end there, as the Cavaliers would make it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals for a showdown with the Miami Heat, which for a variety of reasons will be Steph's most important matchup yet. With the first being that in the near future, Steph will be playing for the Heat as part of a big 3 that could become a potential dynasty. But maybe the most important of all would be the hype surrounding him, as he, just like LeBron, was born in Akron, Ohio, making him the potential hometown savior for the Cavaliers, who just so happened to be in the middle of a championship drought that spanned over multiple decades. And when you combine that with those who don't believe in him,
I don't think he's a winner. I ask you again, what has he won?
All eyes would be on his matchup with the Heat, which would wind up being as close as you would expect, with D-Wade attacking the basket and Steph launching from deep on their way to a Game 7. But in the end, it would be Steph who would carry the Cavs on the road to come out on top, with 3 after 3 after 3, to ultimately hold on to a late lead entering the final few seconds of the game. Second free throw to pretty much put it away, unless some sort of miracle happens. It's good. And with those free throws, it would ultimately be enough for the Cavaliers to stamp their trip to the NBA Finals. In only year 4 and at the age of 22, Steph Curry has led one of the NBA's worst franchises all the way to the finals. But his triumph over the Heat may be short-lived, because while the Cavs aren't known for team success, his final opponent just so happens to be one of the NBA's best. That being the San Antonio Spurs, who are led by 3 Hall of Famers: Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili. But before we see how Steph fares against them, it's also important to mention that coincidentally, LeBron also made it to the 2007 finals in real life, where he also had to go up against the Spurs. But where history can potentially change here is the result of the finals, as LeBron was swept and Steph's fate is still to be determined. Because despite being the massive underdog, Steph would fare better than LeBron did, as while the Spurs trio would play well taking the first 2 games, Steph would shockingly be the best player on the floor in the next 3, helping the Cavs come all the way back to take the lead in the series, now being 1 win away from a championship. But of course, with 3 Hall of Fame players on the floor for the Spurs, this one wouldn't end so easily, meaning that after they took Game 6 in Cleveland, the 2007 NBA Finals would be going to Game 7, where Steph would have to win 1 more game in a hostile San Antonio arena to walk away as a champion, which will also give him an early 1-0 lead over LeBron, who, as a reminder, is still a few years away from entering the NBA. However, while the series may seem to be at its endpoint, it would only be the start of something truly special, as Steph and Tim Duncan would go at it, and when Manu and Tony Parker got in on the action, Steph would respond with 3 after 3 all the way until the 4th quarter. San Antonio would have the ball in a tie game with 20 seconds remaining, and of course a championship on the line. No doubt, Steph Curry's only at the beginning of what's about to be a legendary career. Right now, he's in the midst of the most important possession of his entire life, with the weight of an entire state on his shoulders. Here we go, 20 seconds left. About a second between the shot clock and the game clock. Looks like Manu and Tim Duncan are about to get busy. Here we go, Manu with the ball. Steph gets... Why did Manu just stop? Oh my God, they're about to hit this anyways. We're going to overtime. Oh my God. So with that, Game 7 would go into overtime. And just as it was in regulation, it would be a steady back and forth between the Spurs and Steph, which would once again go down to the final few moments. As this time, the Cavs would have the ball, down 1 with 40 seconds left. Cleveland just called a timeout. They advance it up the court, 40 seconds left. Steph is wide open. They do not pass it to him, but somebody else, I bet you someone else is about to take this shot. Steph with the ball, they're about to send a double. Steph with the step back in the corner. Oh my God, he might have just won the championship with that shot. That is a crazy shot. Here we go, 34 seconds left. Steph has San Antonio on the ropes. Steph's man is about to come up. Oh my God, that's not David Robinson. I don't know. Oh my God, he missed it. Steph is too small, he doesn't get the board. We have a tie game with 24 seconds left. They throw it into Larry Hughes. If Steph doesn't get the ball here, I will be absolutely distraught. I have a bad feeling right now that they're not about to pass it to him, which is absolutely insane. They're not going to pass it to Steph. Oh my God, it's about to be a disaster. They throw it down to Ilgauskas in the post. Ilgauskas with the hook shot. Oh my God, we're going to double overtime. And just as it was in the first overtime, double overtime would again be a back and forth that would again go down to the wire. As while the Cavs would be down, it would only be a 3-point deficit with 90 seconds left to play. Unfortunately for them, they just so happened to have the best person for the situation. And he just decided not to take it. Steph is open. Oh my God, here we go. For the tie. He drains it. The most insane jump in we have ever seen. Tim Duncan, oh my God, what a pass from Tony Parker to Tim Duncan. Steph trying to bounce. He's hit some crazy shots. The past 2 shots he just hit, absolutely insane. He throws it down to Ilgauskas, who pretty much, I don't pass it to him anymore. Tony Parker with the ball, the pass over to not David Robinson. They throw it down to Manu, who's being guarded. He has the mismatch. He has Steph on him. Steph's fighting, though. Steph has him all the way out of the paint, almost. They throw it back to Manu, but Manu, I don't know what. Steph is clamping up. We have seen some... Steph played the best 23 seconds of defense of his life and was not rewarded for it. Here we go. They're about to pass it down to Ilgauskas. I don't want to sound like a hater, but I don't think this is going to end well. He takes a hook shot from so far away. He drains it. Cleveland could play for a stop right now, but I have a feeling 2K's about to make him foul. Here we go. They need some missed free throws. Manu's going to the line. First free throw is good. That now makes it a 3-point game. Whatever happens here, I think Cleveland's going to have to go for a 3. Win or lose, they have to pass it to Steph. And he's coming off a screen. He's wide open. He kind of is wide open. Oh my God, he hit it. All right, here we go. Cleveland is still alive. I don't know how. Wow. All right, obviously they had to foul once again. Manu hit the first free throw to make it a 2-point lead, but whatever happens here, it's a 1-possession game. It doesn't look like Cleveland has a timeout. They don't pass it to Steph on the inbound, which makes me think there's a chance he gets the ball here. But I don't know. To be honest, I feel like... That's the shot they took. It's over. It's actually over. Oh my God, bro. Steph just, he did all that to tie up the game. Manu misses the first. Yo, I need some chaos. Please miss the free throw. I can't believe Larry Hughes just took that shot. He missed both. Go, 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 go. Oh my God, Larry Hughes for the tie. No way, we're going to triple. Both teams deserve to lose. Nobody should be the champion. There's actually 3 seconds left though, so this could end right now. It would not, nothing would surprise me at this point. Manu, oh my God. Yo, the computer is so dumb. Unbelievably, it seems like no team wants to walk away as a champion, mostly due to the questionable decision-making and performance of players not named Steph Curry or Tim Duncan. But will triple overtime yield a different result and finally crown a champion? There's only one way to find out, as we'd see yet another close finish, with the Cavs finally up with a 1-point lead and 28 seconds left. Now 1 defensive stop away from a championship. There's no way Cleveland messes it up right now. 1-point game. San Antonio down by 1. Tony Parker to the basket, the floater, the Tony Parker, I almost said Tim Duncan. So with that, we'd be entering potentially the final possession of Game 7. But considering the chaos we just witnessed, it's impossible to predict what will happen next. Will the Cavs put the ball in the hands of the superstar who's carried them here? Or will they make an unbelievably questionable decision with a championship on the line? It's 2 in the morning and I'm yelling at 2K. At a triple overtime game, will Steph finally take the last shot? Here we go. Down by 1, 10 seconds left. Steph Curry with the championship on the line. Oh my, I don't know. I have a bad feeling about this one. Yeah, he's not taking the final shot. What are they? They deserve to lose. No way. Did it count? It counted. Yo, they actually pulled it. How did they do it? What just happened? Steph Curry is a champion. In large part due to his teammate Drew Gooden, a player not known for scoring who just drained the most important bucket of the season, now giving Steph Curry a 1-0 lead on championships over LeBron. But don't count him out just yet, because he'll have his own major advantages later on. However, to focus back on Steph, with some help, he was able to break the Cleveland sports curse, which means that we can now officially enter a brand new era of NBA basketball. All starting off with the 2008 season, where LeBron would dominate in year 2 of college ball, and Steph Curry would finish the season as the league MVP, averaging 30 points per game. But the playoffs would be a totally different story, as Steph's bid for a repeat would fall short in the conference finals in both 2008 and 2009. Bringing his championship from 2007 into question, with many fans believing he was bailed out by his teammates and that it really shouldn't count. So it seems like Steph will have to prove his doubters wrong yet again. But with the end of those 2 seasons, it means that LeBron's officially entering the NBA in the 2009 draft, where he's taking Steph's spot on the Warriors. And it wouldn't take him long to announce his arrival to both the NBA and our competition with slam after slam, eventually finishing his rookie year with averages of 21, 6, and 7. So while it took him a while to make it to the NBA, the wait would definitely be well worth it. And not only would his rookie year be great in the short term, it would be a really encouraging sign for the future, as while he would miss the playoffs with his new team as the 9th seed, it's only a matter of time until he gets some help and they make some serious noise. But Steph, on the other hand, would still be firmly in championship contention, as while the Cavs would only be the 4th seed in a top-heavy Eastern Conference, Steph Curry would cook his first 3 opponents in the first 3 rounds to return to the NBA Finals. However, while he's been battle-tested by his first appearance against the Spurs, he's now up against his toughest opponent yet. Obviously, right now, the situation's not ideal at all for Steph. He's going to have to take down Kobe. He's still in his prime. The Lakers were the number 1 seed as well, and the Cavs were the 4th. So the odds are definitely against Steph. And those odds would continue to not be in his favor, as while for a moment it seemed like Steph was the best player in the league, Kobe would be reclaiming that top spot, which is something to look out for, especially considering LeBron would be training in the meantime to also make it to the top. But in short, the NBA Finals wouldn't be close. Steph's dragged the Cavs as far as possible, but they're running out of gas, falling short in the finals in 5 games. He impressively has already led Cleveland to a title earlier, and eventually he'll be back. But right now, with his head start over, he's taking his 1-0 lead and his talents to South Beach, where he would be pairing up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh as a member of the Heat, now forming a big 3 that seems to be the title favorite. But before we see how those 3 perform, let's check in on LeBron, who's already up to 24 points and 9 assists per game as only a second-year player. And while he's still waiting on a couple of Steph's signature teammates, you would not be able to tell, as the Warriors as a team would make the leap to the top of the West, finishing with a 60-22 record as the 1 seed, which is a crazy coincidence considering that Steph and the Heat would also finish first in the East, winning 64 games. So right now it's clear that we're on the brink of a legendary rivalry. All starting with the conference finals, where both will have the chance to play each other for the championship if both can move on. So right now, both LeBron and Steph are in the conference finals. Steph's matchup against Orlando, he's pretty much guaranteed to win it. I would be very surprised if Steph wound up losing. So the real question right now is, will LeBron be able to take down Kobe? But for LeBron and the Warriors, the answer to that question would be a resounding no. And it wouldn't even be close, as Kobe would quickly take a 3-1 lead in the series. And with a chance to send LeBron home in front of the Golden State fans, Kobe would do just that, finishing off the Warriors in style to move on to the finals. Honestly, considering that this year was LeBron's second, he made it all the way to the conference finals, it's honestly kind of encouraging. So with LeBron's season now officially over, we have to focus back on Steph, who would be making it to the finals, meaning that he would have his second chance to take down Kobe for the title. And with the help of his new teammates, he's got a much greater chance to do so. But in the end, this one wouldn't be much different than when he was on the Cavs, as Kobe would, just as he did to LeBron, start the series up 3-1. Kobe is completely stealing the show right now, which would be enough to crush the hopes of Steph and the Heat, as he would rub salt in the wound by finishing up the job on the road. So it looks like Kobe right now is the main obstacle for both Kobe and LeBron. Or I mean Steph and LeBron, not Kobe and LeBron, obviously. But yeah, Kobe's going back to back. So with Steph Curry losing in the finals again, adding fuel to the fire that's been placed on him by the media, it's safe to say that the momentum he had from his first title has completely gone away. But the 2012 season would maybe be the best one yet. Because for LeBron, he'd be getting some help with the addition of Klay Thompson, who would be a seamless fit with LBJ, who's now at 25-10, leading the team back to the Western Conference Finals for a second straight time. But before we see who he's up against, in Steph's case, he would be averaging a cool 31 points per game to win his second MVP, which would be enough to help lead the Heat back to the finals, where he'll either be going up against LeBron and the Warriors, or the Oklahoma City Thunder. LeBron's gonna have to go up against KD, Harden, Westbrook. If he wants to meet up with Steph in the finals, that's what he's gonna have to be. And while in a way LeBron is lucky to have avoided Kobe, the Thunder would prove that they're not too far behind, as the combined efforts of KD, Russ, and Harden would help OKC go up 2-0 in the series. But keep in mind, LeBron's consistently carried the Warriors through the playoffs for multiple years now, and that was before he had the help of Klay Thompson. So with those two working together, the Warriors would take not one, not two, not three, but the next 4 straight to make the comeback and advance, meaning that both LeBron James and Steph Curry will finally cross paths in the finals for the first of many times. However, while one day the two will have a more competitive matchup, this one would be over before it started, as the battle-tested Big Three with Steph leading the way would bounce back from last year at the expense of LeBron and the Dubs, who are too inexperienced to really stand a chance. Miami would not only win the series, but sweep it. Little round of applause for Steph, he's back on the board. It was only a matter of time. However, if you find yourself rooting for LeBron, don't count him out just yet. There's still a chance for him to come back from this 0-2 deficit. He's only in season 4, so he should be getting better, as does the whole team. And on top of that, the Warriors still have one more player that'll eventually join the team that could change the entire competition. But before we get to that, Steph would be continuing where he left off in the 2013 season by making it to his 4th straight finals. And in the Warriors' case, not only would Klay improve, but they'd also add the services of Draymond Green, who would add defense and intensity to the team. But the main draw, of course, would be LeBron, who would also improve to the point where he would win his first MVP, resulting in the Warriors also heading back to the finals for round 2 against the Heat. But unlike last year, it seems as though LeBron would have the upper hand, not only matching but surpassing Steph's production to quickly take a 3-2 lead in the finals. Meaning that Steph is now once again with his back against the wall for the first time since his earlier matchup with Kobe. But going into Game 6 with a chance to force 7, he would remain unfazed, keeping the Heat's chances alive. But unfortunately for him, LeBron would be just as determined to close this one out before it gets out of hand. So with the two at the peak of their abilities, we would see a tie game with about 18 seconds left. And with the Warriors and LeBron having the ball, it's up to Steph and the Heat to get a stop to keep their season alive. They pass it into LeBron. I would assume, if they're smart about it, which it's 2K, we can't rule out anything, they would clear out because he's got Ray Allen on him. That is a mismatch. LeBron to the basket, the crossover, completely walled off by Ray Allen. The pass over to Klay. Klay, 1 second left on the clock. The floater, we're going to overtime. What is it today with this simulation and overtime? And just as a reminder, the last time we saw a game so close, it went to 3 overtimes and ended at the buzzer. And while that's extremely unlikely to happen for a second time, what would be certain is that this one would also go down to the wire. As after an intense back and forth from LeBron and Steph, Miami would have the ball, down 3 with about 24 seconds left. D-Wade with the ball, D-Wade with the cross. Steph is standing in the corner. Will they involve him? They finally do. Steph with the ball, the screen from D-Wade. He kind of had space. They just love passing it down into the post. Okay, here we go. Chris Bosh, pass out to Steph. Pump fake, couple pump fakes. Over to Rashard Lewis. He drains it. He tied up the game. Oh my God. So with the game now tied and Miami with all of the momentum, Golden State would call one of their last timeouts with only 6.6 seconds left. And the question is, will we see another role player step up and hit a huge shot? Or will the ball eventually find the hands of the king? If we see another triple overtime, I'm going to freak out. 6 seconds left. LeBron with the spin. Ray Allen playing great defense. Ray Allen's like 40, by the way. Oh my God, no. Yo, he really just hit that. So with that heroic effort and a little bit of space, there would be no need for a Game 7. LeBron's winning his first title in front of his home fans to make our competition 2-1, but maybe most importantly would be the fact that with this championship, we'd be soon entering another new era of the NBA, and I'll explain what that means extremely quickly. As the 2014 season would see both stars dominate as usual, with LeBron winning his second straight MVP. But the playoffs would once again be a challenge, as LBJ would go up against the San Antonio Spurs, who would anticlimactically defeat LeBron in 6 games to move on to the finals, where they would take care of Steph and the Heat as well. So just as fast as the two went back-to-back on titles, they're not completely unbeatable, which is something to keep in mind for 2015 and beyond. But to focus on the present, we'd see Steph Curry waste no time and make another move, now heading back to Cleveland for a fresh start and to pair up with the electric Kyrie Irving, one of the most exciting scoring guards in the game, helping the team finish with a 62-20 record to finish as the 1 seed in the East. But can two small scoring point guards win an NBA championship together? Because the more balanced Golden State Warriors would also dominate, finishing second in the West and making it all the way to the conference finals, for yet another matchup with the OKC Thunder, who they've taken down in the past. In spite of that though, the combo of KD and Russ would be at its peak, and this one will look to be completely different, as after a back and forth between both teams that would go to Game 7, the all-around Warriors would fall short of the finals, getting blown out on the road. LeBron's not even on the floor for this one too. They already subbed out all the starters. The final streak is over for LBJ. So with LeBron's postseason officially cut short, we would see Steph on the other side dominate the Eastern Conference to match up with the Thunder in the finals. But unlike LeBron, this one would not be going to Game 7. It would only go to 6, with the Cavaliers' backcourt going off, eventually winning the series 4-2 to secure Steph's 3rd title and his 2nd with the Cavaliers franchise. Steph Curry back on the board, the deficit's just growing larger and larger for LeBron. And with that most recent championship, Steph Curry is officially at the halfway point of our competition, as we're now entering the 2016 season, which for LeBron is especially important since he's going to have to make a 3-1 comeback if he wants to win this race. But fortunately for him, his luck is about to change, as the 2016 season would see him have maybe his best yet, with a historic average of almost 31-9-9, which would be enough to propel the Warriors to a 72-10 season to tie up the all-time record, which would of course be enough to win the league MVP. If you find yourself rooting for LeBron, you probably are a little bit more encouraged. And let's not waste any time. He would bounce back from last year to make it to the finals for a classic matchup between the Cavs and Warriors, with the two main stars of the day once again clashing for the title. But unlike the real-life 2016 finals, this one wouldn't be half as suspenseful, as it's not going to Game 7, and it would not be the Cavs walking away on top. And as a matter of fact, this one wouldn't be close, as the Warriors being completely oversized compared to the Cavaliers would be the difference, as they would easily cruise to a 4-1 victory to win LeBron title number 2. But for Steph and the Cavaliers, it's about to get much, much worse.
Well, I'm viewing it as the weakest move I've ever seen from a superstar.
As Kevin Durant, one of the greatest players ever, still without a championship, would now be taking the hardest road and heading to the Golden State Warriors, obviously making a pairing with LeBron that's basically unfair and totally unbeatable, as the 2017 season would see the two make it to the finals immediately, where they would not play the Cavs, but the Chicago Bulls led by Jimmy Butler and D-Wade, which would end in a championship for the Dubs, which would most importantly tie up LeBron with Steph at 3 titles apiece. It is about to get historically ugly for the rest of the league, because in 2018 they wouldn't show any signs of slowing down, as they would head right back to the finals for a surprise matchup with the Detroit Pistons led by Blake Griffin, but they would get destroyed just as quickly as the Bulls, now giving LeBron a 3-4 lead in a blink of an eye. But we can't forget about Steph, so here's a little bit of an update. He actually finished the 2018 season as the league MVP for a 3rd time, so clearly he's not washed. It's really just the Cavs as a franchise. So in response for the 2019 season, he would be heading to the Los Angeles Lakers for a fresh start to potentially get back on track. However, he would be met with an interesting cast of young players, which would create a really weird dynamic surrounding the team.
He bigger than Steph, because Steph Curry, what, 6'2"?
Steph Curry about 6'3".
I'll let him be 6'4", he's still shorter than my boy.
So it wouldn't be any surprise that they wouldn't be good enough to stop Golden State, where they would go up against the Washington Wizards of all teams in the finals, and it would end exactly the way you would expect, with with a sweep and LeBron's 5th championship. He's made the comeback and taken the lead by 2, all thanks to the formation of possibly the greatest duo the NBA has ever seen. And just as a reminder, at one point Steph was up 3-1, but after a solo championship in 2016, followed by the 3 he won with Kevin Durant, which all happened consecutively by the way, LeBron is now 1 title away from winning this whole thing. But don't count out Steph, because history may be on his side, as just like LeBron, the 2020 season would see him partner up with Anthony Davis, now thrusting the Lakers back into championship contention. But the most encouraging sign wouldn't even be on his own team, as Kevin Durant would be leaving LeBron in favor of Kyrie and the Nets, which would obviously be a massive hit to the Warriors, who would drop off hard in comparison, only finishing 5th in the West. So as the entire league shifted to the bubble for the postseason, it's safe to say that the Warriors have lost all of their momentum. Right now, Steph is the 1st seed, LeBron is the 5th. If they both advance, they're going to play each other, but I don't think LeBron really has a chance. I think Golden State's probably going to lose in that case. But it wouldn't even get to that. The surprise appearance of the Sacramento Kings, led by De'Aaron Fox, would be enough to take down LeBron and stop his title streak at 4. It's a surprise to be sure, but now with that loss, we have to entertain the possibility that the dynasty the Warriors created is now close to its end. But in the meantime, we would see Steph easily take down the Kings in the 2nd round to advance to the conference finals against the Pelicans, with the actual finals in sight. However, if Steph's going to make the comeback and win this competition, it's not going to be so easy, as Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram, his 2 former teammates who were cast aside and traded away for Anthony Davis, would be extra motivated and go off, which isn't enough for them to win the series outright, considering Steph is also playing extremely well. But when you add in the impact of Zion Williamson, who would dominate Anthony Davis in the lane only as a rookie, it would explain why the Lakers would shockingly be falling short to the West's 3rd seed in 6 games. But don't count Steph out just yet, cause that loss would only be the start to something much greater, as in the 2021 season, he would help LA get right back on track, winning 65 games by averaging almost 30 a night. But most importantly, he'd finally establish chemistry with Anthony Davis, which would be best illustrated by their eventual matchup with LeBron in the conference finals, where the Laker duo would absolutely smoke him on the way to a 3-1 lead. You already know that in LA, in front of his home fans, there's no way Steph will drop Game 5. They sent Steph to the line, the 2nd free throw is good. It's a 7-point game, 15 seconds left, it's over. So with that, he stifled LeBron and is advancing to the finals, where he'd go up against the Brooklyn Nets, featuring Kevin Durant, his former teammate Kyrie, and James Harden, which would ultimately be his chance to get his revenge on KD specifically for helping out LeBron. Because despite the titan of a team in front of him, Steph would close it out easily in 5 games, now putting him just 1 title behind LeBron, with a very real chance to come all the way back. However, while Los Angeles would be celebrating, LeBron would also be steadily preparing for another deep playoff run. And now entering 2022, history may potentially shift his way as a result. Because with Dre and Clay, with just enough in the tank, as well as the scoring of Jordan Poole, who seems to be a future star, LeBron would go into battle with easily his best supporting cast since KD left. But while we're on the topic of supporting casts, we would see Steph in a little bit of a jam, as at this time in real life, the Lakers basically traded away their entire team for Russell Westbrook, who to his credit is still a solid player. But considering his weird fit with the Lakers roster as a whole, it would be hard to tell and put Steph in the danger zone, as the Lakers would only finish as the 6th seed, which is hurting his title chances at the worst possible time. And that's not to say it's over for him, because in a few years the Lakers will be drastically improving the roster, but in order to do so, the competition has to continue till then. So with LeBron heading to the finals, it's only fitting that Steph would be leaving his fate in the hands of the man who changed this entire competition, that being none other than Kevin Durant, who's tasked with preventing LeBron's 6th title, which will give him the win. And with KD having 3 titles under his belt, with all of them as LeBron's sidekick, he has his own, and plenty of motivation, to win a title as the main star. So as a result, this one would be the ideal wire-to-wire finals with plenty of star power, as both KD and LeBron would battle over the first 4 games, starting off the NBA Finals with a 2-2 tie. But of course, someone has to lose in the end, and we get one step closer in Game 5, which would be played in Brooklyn, which would be the difference, as KD would be in control, now moments away from a 3-2 lead. It's not even close. Brooklyn's going up 3-2. LeBron's back is against the wall. So with Brooklyn now 1 win away from a championship, LeBron would be tasked with protecting home court to keep the series alive. Because if it ends as a loss right here, it'll give Steph more than a chance to come back. But now at the age of 34, and no stranger to the postseason, he would use his experience to pull through. And with the help of his 2 longtime teammates and the spark of Jordan Poole, the Warriors would take care of business and keep the series alive. LeBron and the Warriors are taking care of home court, which means we are going to Game 7, which would be played on the road. The Golden State Warriors versus the Brooklyn Nets. Kevin Durant versus LeBron James in the most important game of the last 2 decades, which is definitely saying a lot as we've seen countless iconic moments from both Steph and LeBron as time has passed. And there's still plenty of room for more as we're still a couple years away from the present day. So the door is still open for records to be broken and more highlights to be made. But in the end, King James would slam that door shut as he would deliver one more signature performance, taking control of Game 7. As with over a decade of momentum by his side, Golden State would have a 4-point lead with a minute left. And after one final highlight from the man himself, they're about to pass it to LeBron. He's coming up off a screen. The pump fake on KD, his former teammate, the slam. This one would be over shortly after, as the Golden State Warriors would be walking away as champions, officially giving LeBron his 6th title to win the competition over Steph, who to his credit had an amazing career that should be celebrated. But in this alternate reality where the 2 swap careers, it's become apparently clear that LeBron James is walking away as the greatest of all time.